Welcome to the SVG-TV news for Thursday, May 26th. I am Khalil Cato with the details. With over 250 cases of monkeypox discovered in 16 countries outside of Africa, local infectious disease specialist Dr. Gerald Thompson said the virus can be contained. Dr. Thompson told SVG-TV News that the monkeypox virus has a very low infection rate, hence there will be no need for mass vaccination like the COVID-19 virus.
In essence, this is something that, unlike COVID, especially the Omicron that had a reproduction as a transmissibility rate, a number called 7, monkeypox is less than 1. This means that it's likely to peter out. And because of the age of travel, and so you will see different cases popping up around the world, but I think that in the region, in most parts of the world, there'll be very little to worry about. Everyone just has to be that much more cautious and careful and know a little about it, and know that it's spread by very, very close contact.
Dr. Thompson noted that with the COVID-19 protocols in place, persons are more conscious of protecting themselves against the new virus. The infectious disease specialist is, however, encouraging persons to seek urgent medical attention in the event they observe a strange rash on their skin. He noted that there are treatments available for monkeypox.
Coming out of a pandemic like COVID-19, where we're still in it, where we're still advocating physical and social distancing, and some people wearing masks and so forth, a lot of persons are that much more conscious. The big issue is that of if anyone is to come into identify any of these kind of rashes, you should contact your healthcare official well beforehand, so that the healthcare official is not being put at any risk. Nurse is not being put at any risk. But we do have treatments, antivirals and so forth that can take care of this, I believe, in the world. But once again, I think that we are unlikely to see this as any sort of big sort of outbreak, and so in the Caribbean or around the world, certainly not in St Vincent.
Under the tutelage of 7 extensively trained and qualified instructors, 136 participants successfully completed 4 weeks of intensive training under the Women's Vocational Training Program. Today, the Department of Adult and Continuing Education within the Ministry of Education and National Reconciliation hosted a graduation ceremony for the participants at the Kingstown Baptist Church. The program, which resulted from a collaboration between the department and the Taiwan Technical Mission, aims to assist unemployed and vulnerable women in acquiring skill sets and entrepreneurial coaching to be hired by local businesses and, moreover, to establish their own enterprises. Addressing the graduation ceremony, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education and National Reconciliation, Mikkel Burke, said by empowering these women, more households will also be empowered, and thanked the Taiwanese government for collaborating on the program and for its continuous support to SVG.
Globally, we are told that we're experiencing a downturn in economies. But it appears that while we're experiencing economic downturn, the generosity of the people of Taiwan increases. Because at every opportunity, they have communicated their willingness to work with the government of St Vincent and the Grenadines to develop the people of St Vincent and the Grenadines. So this is an alliance that is mutually beneficial. But it appears that we are gaining more by the exchange, and we're indeed grateful for that.
Making reference to a biblical proverb, Ambassador of the Embassy of the Republic of China, Taiwan, His Excellency Peter Shali Lan, told the graduates that with their newly acquired skills, it's now on them to go out into the world and make a difference.
Leaf is up from the Proverbs 21:31. The horse is made ready for the day of the battle, but the final victory rests with the Lord. So I hope our program was made to make the horse ready for all of you, go out and fight against the challenge you're going to face in the future.
Entrepreneur and owner of the Bamboo Spa, Kathleen Wright, was the guest speaker at the ceremony and urged the graduates to surround themselves with positive individuals and to continue pushing forward.
Practice self-care, extremely important. So the questions are you getting adequate sleep? Many of us have children. Is your diet fueling your body well? Are you taking charge of your health? Especially for those of you in beauty therapy. Are you getting enough exercise? Are you making enough time for activities that mentally stimulate you? Are you doing proactive things to help you stay mentally healthy? What is your relationship with God like? These are questions that the Bible will say, Sila, it means to meditate on them.
The participants were trained in the areas of beauty therapy, housekeeping, and computer technology. A two-day regional workshop and validation of the OECS Blue Biotrade Action Plan for the Queen Conch value chain in the Eastern Caribbean got off to a start today at the Sunset Shores Hotel. The workshop is hosted by the OECS Commission, the United States Conference on Trade and Development, the Convention on International Trade and Endangered Species, and Wild Fauna and Flora, and the government of St Vincent and the Grenadines. The two-day workshop is the end of a first phase of an initiative which started in October 2021, entitled Teasing the Trade Business Potential of the Blue Biotrade Product for Promoting Sustainable Livelihood and Conservation of Marine Diversity in Selected OECS Countries. Addressing the opening ceremony, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labor, Saboto Caesar, spoke of the steps that are being taken in SVG to promote the sustainability of the blue economy. Minister Caesar said that the people of SVG are doing their best to ensure that they follow international laws when it comes to the environment and the blue economy because they understand and appreciate the international obligations.
Legal obligations. In order to develop a modern fishing industry, it begins first of all with a clear expression of the political will. And in St Vincent and the Grenadines, in the OECS and particularly at the OECS Secretariat level, there is that clear expression of the political will to do and to do what is right. Not only can you sit in the cabinet and express the political will, but it has to be framed into laws. Because at the end of the day, we are not operating in isolation of the rest of the world.
The Agriculture and Fisheries Minister said over the last 5 years, SVG has done significant work in promoting the sustainability of the blue economy.
In St Vincent and the Grenadines, we have a total ban on the capturing of turtles. We have a total ban on the capturing of the parrotfish. The issue of the finning of sharks, we have gone internationally and we have spoken against this. And quite recently, we have concluded a survey of the marine space in St Vincent and the Grenadines, and it's part of a broader project to ensure that we have both a quantitative and a qualitative assessment of the conch and the lobsters that we have in our waters. The political will is number one, the legal framework is number two, and what we have witnessed as number three, is that once you have the laws right and you have the political will, the investors will come.
Minister Caesar further commended the private investors in the fisheries sector for their work in maintaining the principles of sustainability.
And I want to recognize here this morning the local investors who we have in the fisheries sector. and I want to commend them for the excellent work in ensuring that the principles and precepts of sustainability that they are maintained. And the last issue that I want to touch on has to do with the implementation. And for the implementation, we must continue the excellent working relationship that we have. Again, I want to thank the OECS Secretariat for the work that it continues to do.
Meanwhile, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries of St. Lucia, Barrymore Felician, said that the validation of the OECS Blue Biotrade for the Queen Conch in the Eastern Caribbean is of critical importance to the economies of member states. He noted that St. Lucia is pleased to be part of the workshop and everything that is being done to improve the blue economy in St. Lucia.
Committed to supporting the continued development of the industry. We are acutely aware of the challenges that the industry faces, notably the depth to which the divers must go to sometimes exceeding 100 feet, and thus the associated medical and insurance requirements of the industry is critical. We are also cognizant of the need to enable fairer trade and marketing for the export of conch meat to nearby French territories, so as to enable our fisherfolk to get a more equitable return from the conch industry. Therefore, over the next 2 days, colleagues as well as participants will consider the key findings from the study and propose key actions and initiatives to mitigate the challenges and capitalize on the opportunities. It is our hope that these will result in better conditions for persons in the value chain. As we seek to move forward with the second phase of this project, we will need to consider the following actions which will benefit not only St. Lucia, but the region. 1. Stock assessment of conch resource to determine the level or need for imposition or sustainable management practices to ensure the continued viability of the industry. And 2. Working towards the regularization and trade.
Grenada's Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Fisheries, Kim Frederick, said Grenada welcomes the work that is being done by the OECS, noting that the island is very active in the blue economy space, from coastal sustainable development to fisheries and beyond.
In Grenada, we recognize the importance of our marine resources and their potential to drive economic development and investment. In that regard, we welcome the work done by the OECS, UNCTAD, and CITES over the last year on the very important Queen Conch Value Chain project. The project, with the assistance of CITES, has identified pathways to resolving the trade-related issues and help with sustaining the Queen Conch industry. With our current timeline, it is our hope to have in place the relevant policies and legislation necessary for full CITES compliance by April 2023. Importantly, through the actions of this project, in the past month, a legislative agenda was submitted to CITES detailing the steps we will take to enhance our compliance with CITES requirements. Grenada is a high-capacity country in the fisheries sector. We have 2 HACCP certified facilities for the export of fisheries products, a European Union recognized competent authority, and value-added producers making tenderized conch meat, conch burgers, and a lot more.
The UWI Open Campus St. Vincent site is looking to offer specially designed courses that are tailored to meet the needs of the Vincentian populace. Head of Site, Deborah Dalrymple, in an interview with the Agency for Public Information, explained that this new community-based approach allows for the university to expand its scope by providing training in areas where there is a need or a demand locally.
We did, like I said, we started to try to increase the number of local courses. Yes. Because the university has their program. They have their undergrad programs, they have their certificate programs and so on. But we wanted to see what's the need in St Vincent that we could meet. So for example, we had, when I got there, the university, the staff was already working on a theatre arts program. So we brought that to fruition. We had people coming, potential actors and so on coming. We had a theatre arts program going. Then we had a program called Understanding Music. So we had somebody come to teach people who were into music but didn't have any formal training. Short courses, 10 weeks, 13 weeks, not a lot. We then did something for the care of the elderly. We did workshops on vulnerable groups. We did workshops on consumer affairs, on being part of a committee. All kinds of things. How do you function as part of a committee?
Right.
Simple, but a lot of times we're in committees we don't even know what we're supposed to do. Yes. Understanding financial reports, all these little courses we did, and quite a lot of workshops.
Dalrymple, who has been the head of site for the past 11 years, noted that the campus has to be more than a place where one goes to get a degree.
A lot of exciting things coming.
Because we want to move back into our building with a bang. We just don't want to slide back in.
Yes.
We want to go back into our building and say, we have come back. This is what we're going to do. And I'm hoping that over the next couple of months, once we've moved in, we could start to slowly bring back that kind of excitement we had just before the building was being renovated.
Right.
That's really, well, I should say my goal. I don't know if my staff quite knows it yet, but that's certainly my goal.
Well, they will certainly know it now.
They will do it now. To bring back some of those exciting programs, exciting activities, exciting events, in addition to, because university education cannot simply be.
Right.
You go online and do your paper, you go to the library and do your paper, and of course, I said to my students when I taught that, everybody wants an A and everybody wants to be a first-class honors. That's fine. But you need to deepen and broaden your education. And if we're offering you a lecture, come to the lecture. I mean, it's going to take you like a couple hours and deepen your understanding of life and your worldview and so on.
The university's open campus has over 700 students registered in both undergraduate and postgraduate studies. The Ministry of Education and National Reconciliation has strongly condemned the recent acts of violence in SVG. In a statement issued today, the ministry said violence in any form should never be condoned and allowed to erode the principles and foundation upon which our society stands. Reference was made to what the ministry deemed as the reprehensible act of violence that resulted in injuries sustained by the principal of the Mountain View Adventist Academy last Wednesday and other recent acts of violence, particularly against females. These, the ministry said, are symptomatic of a declining societal norms which everyone is collectively responsible for upholding. The ministry makes it clear that it stands in solidarity with school leaders, teachers, and females nationwide against such acts of cruelty. According to the ministry, to create a more harmonious society and improve the circumstances of our people, all stakeholders must work collaboratively, understanding that mutual respect and trust are paramount to the effective execution of the teaching and learning exercise. The ministry also reminded parents of their obligation to protect all children and to ensure that they are provided with a safe and nurturing environment. The ministry ended the statement by pledging to continue to act in accordance with the provisions of the Education Act and all other relevant legislation to safeguard the interests of all stakeholders. A call has been made from within the Royal St Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force for additional resources to be given to the murder investigation of young Precious Williams. This call came from Divisional Commander of the South Central Division Head of the Sexual Offences Unit, Superintendent Trevor Bailey. The body of Precious Williams, a 17-year-old student of Walvaroo Sign Hill and former student of the West St George Secondary School, was discovered in a bag in a gutter in the Richmond Hill area on Thursday, May 12th. The identity of the body was not confirmed until a week later, when information about Williams's tattoos were released to the public, after which she was identified by her mother. The autopsy revealed that Williams died as a result of a laceration to her throat. Superintendent Bailey delivered remarks at a special tribute session hosted by the West St George Secondary School for Williams. Bailey said it is a priority that the perpetrator of the crime be brought to justice.
I am calling on my organization, the Royal St Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, to redouble its effort to ensure that enough resources are traveling towards the investigation of the death of Precious Williams, St Vincent, the Grenadines, the rest of the world, the Caribbean to watch it. This is one right that we have to bring the perpetrator or the perpetrators to justice. If we allow people to get away with these crimes, the likelihood of a repetition is great. So, my organization, we have to, and I'm not divorcing myself from it, we have to make this investigation count. We have to do it right. I say to the mommy, I say to the school, be patient. Sometimes it won't happen by the clap of a hand.
Superintendent Bailey also issued words of advice to the female students of the school, urging them not to be led astray by men who show sexual interest in them.
When you hear from them how beautiful you are, acknowledge the compliment. Thank you. Oh, you are the best thing that ever happened after God created this world. Thank you. You are the only apple that can be enjoyed. Beautiful. Accept all those compliments and say to the young women, if you mean that, walk with me. Walk with me as I go along the path where I want to be. Walk with me as I finish my school education. If you really mean those words that you say to me, wait until I'm finished. If you can wait, then you wait. If you can't wait, they see you as just another tangible thing that you can pass.
Vincentians are being urged to be on the alert for contaminated jars of Jif peanut butter. Jif's parent company, J.M. Smucker Company, issued a voluntary recall on the product last Thursday after an outbreak of salmonella was linked to a manufacturing facility in Lexington, Kentucky. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, 16 people have fallen ill in the U.S. and 2 have been hospitalized as a result of the contaminated product. Local supermarket chain Massey Stores SVG today issued an advisory informing consumers about the recall. The affected products include Jif Crunchy Peanut Butter, Jif Reduced Fat Creamy Peanut Butter, Jif Creamy Omega-3 Peanut Butter, Jif Natural Creamy Peanut Butter Honey, Jif Creamy Peanut Butter To Go, and Jif Creamy Peanut Butter. Massey Stores representatives told SVG-TV News that the recall is a precautionary measure, and so far there have been no reports of illness. The Royal St Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is appealing to members of the public not to enable in any way the buying or selling of any agricultural or produce or livestock that is suspected to be stolen or unlawfully obtained. In recent weeks, the police say they have noted a spike in reports of theft of animals, mainly in some rural villages on the mainland. The police force is reminding the public of the following in accordance with the Agricultural Produce and Livestock Prevention of Theft Act. 1. A person who sells or otherwise disposes of agricultural produce or livestock valued at 50 EC dollars or more, or weighs 5 kilograms or 11.02 pounds or more, must be registered with the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries. The police force encourages the public not to purchase any crops or livestock from sellers who do not have a valid registration card. 2. Sales and purchases of crops and livestock must be transacted between 5 a.m. and 7 p.m. 3. The seller of the item or items must issue a receipt or certificate of purchase to the buyer. This receipt must be dated and have the cost of the sold livestock or produce. 4. A person convicted under this legislation can be fined 10,000 DC dollars or sentenced to 2 years imprisonment or both. Moreover, if the convicted person used a motor vehicle to transport the stolen items, the court can confiscate the said vehicle, sell it, and deposit the proceeds into the consolidated fund. Strongly advising persons to desist from the practice of stealing other people's livestock and agricultural produce, the police are asking that if you suspect anyone of selling or buying stolen products, to contact them immediately. The Forestry Department has reported that a fire in the Zion Trail has caused extensive damage to the trail. The trail, which is located in Barrowley, was developed with grant funding from the Global Environment Fund, the GEF, and was done in collaboration with a community group and the Forestry Department. It is reported that the fire started sometime during the course of last night. The recreational site already had bathroom facilities, A well-defined hiking trail, a gazebo, and other facilities were being developed. Speaking to the Agency for Public Information, Forestry Supervisor Bradford Latham said the trail is one of the success stories of the community-government collaboration, and it is a blow to the work that has been done so far. The Forestry Department is carrying out investigations as to the cause of the fire.